Okay, day 11, RPG A Day 2022. This question was hard, and I'm still not even sure what I would choose. The question is, if you could live in a game setting, where would it be? And I was going over all the RPGs that I can think of, just off the top of my head that I've got. And a lot of them kind of have dark, grisly themes that I probably wouldn't want to choose. Call of Cthulhu is the whole idea is you're an investigator researching dark secrets and uncovering supernatural things that are just too much for the mind to handle, and you go insane. So probably pass. Similarly, I've got Quantum Black, which is more of a modern day setting where you play as one of the secret teams of the Quantum Black organization, fighting those supernatural monsters, going insane or risking life or limb. And probably not. I've seen what my players will do in that system, and I'll pass. I'm about to play Alien tonight. Facehuggers, and no, I'll pass. Maximum Apocalypse. The whole game is about surviving multiple different types of apocalypses, so probably not the best setting to choose. Outbreak. That's a zombie RPG. Haven't played it yet, but would I want to live there? Probably not. Mothership. Basically a space horror game. I'll pass. Vampire the Masquerade. You play as a vampire. You're undead and losing all semblance of your humanity. Pass. Then there's like the OSR kind of really fun but challenging high-risk games like Dungeon Crawl Classics and Basic Fantasy. Basically, life is cheap in those games. Pass. All for One Regime Diabolique. You play as a French musketeer in that time period, and there's monsters and stuff, and that's a cool setting, but would I want to live there? Probably not. Then I moved over to kind of a list of maybes, and this is going to include kind of the generic fantasy 5th edition. I don't know any of the published settings for D&D 5e or any of the other versions, really. I guess there's there's a lot of different settings that I just don't know enough about, so I probably would pass. Pathfinder 1st or 2nd edition, I don't know the world of Pathfinder at all. I think it's a fun game system for sure, and I definitely would engage with it with my own creations, but I don't know what the lore is for it well enough to determine that. Starfinder, kind of the same thing. I love the science fiction, and you'll see the trend. That's probably where this is going to go here in a second. But Starfinder is much more science fiction fantasy, I guess. I don't even know if space adventure is probably a better term for it. And I don't know the setting for it, so pass. Masks. I've got Masks, which is a superhero RPG. I haven't played it, haven't really looked at it a whole lot. Maybe have superpowers and fight supervillains. I'm not really into superheroes a whole lot, so that's a maybe, but pass, I think. Shifting over, Cyberpunk. I've got a couple Cyberpunk RPGs. That's kind of a dystopian future. A lot of robotic implants and stuff like that. Also, Beta Red is another Cyberpunk themed game. I think I'd pass on that too. And then there's Mecha Hack. Love Mecha Hack. I've talked about that a lot. That one's a maybe, but the setting in Mecha Hack. There's basically 3 factions. There's for lack of a better way of remembering it, the Rebellion, the Empire equivalent, and then there's the Kaiju. So maybe that's a maybe. So Masks maybe, Mecha Hack maybe. Firefly, I've got the Firefly RPG. I've played it once. Eric ran for me, and I was actually talking with Eric last night about Firefly a little bit. So that's a maybe. Traveler, that's another one that I've got here as a maybe. Traveler I've not played, but I mentioned that as one of my other videos for this challenge. I think it was day 7 for the RPG day. But anyways, that I can see being fun, kind of a space exploration. You get to go on just wild escapades. So that's a maybe. But I think the top 3 that I would end up choosing from is going to be the Hollow Earth Expedition. It's our world. It's very like a pulp action adventure game. You play as it's like in Indiana Jones meets Jules Verne. So that's a really fun setting, and I might go with that one, even though it's just Earth 1930s. But then the top two. Adventures in Middle-earth. I think it would be super cool to be able to be a hobbit or a dwarf or even a man, or probably not an elf. But being in Lord of the Rings, being in the Middle-earth, that's probably number 2. And the number 1 spot, what would I choose for a setting? I would actually choose probably Star Wars. I've got a lot of different variants of the Star Wars role-playing game, but they're all set in the same universe, the same world. But just take the most recent, the FFG Star Wars by Fantasy Flight. That takes place during the Empire, really. And so being like the upcoming show Andor, that looks really fun, really good. So that time period, I think it'd be interesting, whether you're in the battle of the rebellion versus the Empire, or if you are just being on the Fringer in the Outer Rim. There's so many options in the Star Wars universe, and sure, you can get killed pretty easily, but you can also kind of have a lot of fun adventures. So I'm going to choose Star Wars. Good morning, it's RPG Day 2022, Day 12. Why did I start RPGing? I started role-playing because I loved the fact that I could create a character in a world or setting that I loved and make my own stories within that universe. And then I realized you could make your own stories, like your own worlds. So the creative aspect is huge. And then also I didn't have a lot of like friends growing up. It was mostly just me and my family. And then the friends that I did make were all through the RPG community, whether it was online at first or kind of as I am now. Most of all my friends are online through my gaming groups, in your different spheres of life, whether it's extended family or work or church or what other activities you're in. For me, all my best friends are in my RPG community. So there's the social element, like Mackenzie's talked about, is being able to hang out with friends and just have a good time. You can be goofing off, you can have serious moments in role-playing games, you can have just great experiences. And so I started role-playing because of some of those reasons. And yeah, I think a big part of it now is all my best friends are like-minded. We like games, we like talking about games, we like playing games, and then as the years progress, we have these shared experiences of gaming together, and that's really cool. I've never had that kind of connection with people. Like at the church we used to go to, everybody was into sports, and I don't care about sports. I've worked at baseball games and soccer stadiums and hockey games, and hockey is actually pretty cool, but it doesn't connect with me. I'm not a sports guy. I'm a gaming guy. So you talk about Dungeons and Dragons or the Mariners baseball team, there's one topic of those two that I will absolutely talk to you with enthusiasm about. The other one would just be very boring. So no hate on those who like sports, but that's just not me. I love RPGs. Good morning, it's day 13 of RPG Day 2022. I'm here at the Renaissance Fair. Here's our camp. And the question of today is, what would I change about the way I started RPGing? And I probably wouldn't change anything. I think I have had a lot of great experiences playing role-playing games, and I don't believe there's a lot of parts about life that I would go back and change. Like, everything that I've experienced has kind of got me where I am here. So maybe, if anything, just play more in my teens, but I didn't really have a group apart from my siblings. But I got a lot of other fun games in too, so no real regrets. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow for day 14. Cheers. Good evening, it's RPG Day 2022, Suggestion Sunday, day 14, and it's late, but I wanted to get this video done. So, I'm supposed to suggest an RPG for a certain amount of number of people to play. So, I am going to just roll the d8. Oh my goodness, so 7 plus 1, so 8 people. I was not expecting it to be that high. Well, I'm going to start with the people who are kind of following along with RPG a day. Let's see. So, for Mackenzie, I am going to recommend Vampire the Masquerade. I think that would be a really fun RPG to play with you. I think you'd enjoy it. For Matt, I am going to recommend, because I know you want to play it already, Quantum Black. I think you'd really enjoy playing Quantum Black. And the Ubiquity system in general is really awesome. I think you'd really enjoy that. Pi, I know you have posted at least once. This is not necessarily a new system for you. In fact, you're probably very familiar with it. But specifically this campaign, I think you'd enjoy D&D 5th edition Tomb of Annihilation. I think you'd get a kick out of either running or playing in that game. Dieter, I think you would, whether I played with you or not, but I think you would really enjoy Cyberpunk. And this is the only one that I have with me, is Carbon 2185. This is like a 5th edition Cyberpunk variant. The one I specifically want to get is the Cyberpunk Red. That looks like a really fun system. Let's see. Rebecca, my wife, I would actually think it would be really fun to play Vampire the Masquerade with you as well. I think you'd enjoy that. So that's what, 5 people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who else? Eric. I think we've played a lot of the games that I was thinking of. Todd. I'll go with you, Todd, real quick. I'm going to recommend Maximum Apocalypse because it's got a really good, really fun. I haven't actually played this enough to know 100% how the system is, but a really good crafting rules. So you are in a zombie apocalypse or various other apocalypses. I think there's like 8 or 10 or 12 to choose from. But there's got a really good crafting guide. Let's see, what am I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 RPGs, so I need 2 more. Adam Hansen. Do I have my Mecha Hack books up here? I don't know if I do. Alright, my Mecha Hack books are at my desk. But I'm going to recommend Mecha Hack for Adam because it's a really fun rules light game, and I know you've kind of been curious to try it. So that is Mecha Hack. Now Eric, I do want to get one for Eric, so Eric will be my number 8. Firefly, no. I would actually love to play Hollow Earth Expedition with you, but you're already in my Lost Treasure of Yamashita game, so that is kind of like it doesn't count. I'm gonna pull out All for One Regime Diabolique. This is also a Ubiquity game, but it's set in like Musketeer France. I think it's like the late 1600s. And I think you would enjoy this game. It's kind of got that historical element that I think you're really good at, that kind of Shakespearean kind of love that you have, I think would work really well with this. So there's 8 RPGs, recommendations for 8 good friends of mine. And if there's more people, that obviously I can keep going, but those are the ones that just popped into my head for now. So we've got Mackenzie, Vampire the Masquerade. Rebecca, also Vampire the Masquerade. Matt, Quantum Black. Pie Guy, Tomb of Annihilation. Though actually, you know what, Pie, if 5th edition doesn't count because of whatever reason, I know you've already played Call of Cthulhu, but Pulp Cthulhu would kind of make it more Quantum Blacky. That would be a fun thing for you too. And if you wanted to have like a end of the world RPG, Desolation, which is a Ubiquity system as well. And Todd, you would actually like this too. So I don't know, a couple other options. Dieter, Cyberpunk I'd put Cyberpunk Red over Carbon 2185, but there's also Altered Carbon RPG. Yeah, I'm not going to run through it again. RPG a Day, Sunday, 2022. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Day 15 of the RPG a Day 2022 questions is, who would I like to game master for me? And I was thinking about this a lot. I meant to post this yesterday. But there's like different categories of people that I was thinking about. And ultimately, the answer that I would choose is my wife, Rebecca. I've only had her game master for me once, and it was so much fun. And I've heard stories about her other games she's done, and those with 5th edition D&D. But I would really love to see what she creates or comes up with either other systems or in D&D. I know she's got a lot of imagination and has a lot of inspiration from all the mangas she's read and stuff like that. So I would choose Becca to be the game master for a game. The other categories I was thinking about was kind of, I guess, popular YouTube figures or DMs. And I think Seth Skorkowski would be really fun to have him run a game. Mark Humes, who runs the High Roller D&D 5th edition show, he's probably the celebrity DM that I would choose. And then there's a lot of people in our RPG guild that I would love to play in their games more, and have, and we've got a lot of great DMs. But I guess first and foremost, if I were to choose one person, it would be Becca.